Okay, Superman versus Batman, Dawn of Justice, IMAX 3D edition. This film is very big, heavy, and loud. Of course, seeing it 3D and IMAX, it's going to be loud, it's going to be heavy. But from the opening sequence, where again they show the origin of Batman, and you watch this is IMAX. You watch the human-sized bullet fall and bounce on the ground. It felt really big and heavy. This film is absolutely epic in scale. And of course, it's being Superman versus Batman. And the Dawn of Justice, leading, of course, this is the precursor to the Justice League film. I mean, if you see the trailer, that's pretty much the entire film is there. It is Bruce Wayne coming to grips with what happened during the end of Man of Steel, Clark Kent coming to grips with the way some people are treating him. Heavy on here's the world of politics, where it's, well, he does these things, and then these things happen. He doesn't care about the consequences of these things. The plot, for some people leaving the theater, they're like, man, I was so lost. The plot isn't heavily nuanced at all. You're pretty much introduced to one of the main henchmen pretty early on. And he becomes a reoccurring character. Because he's tied to like 3 of the 4 main characters in the film. So it's not hard to follow. So the movie itself is actually, I enjoyed it. Very heavy, very drama-filled. People like the Marvel films because they're more action comedies. This is an action drama. So we'll go through your primary characters. Ben Affleck's Batman. His Batman worked pretty well. This is older, violent, bitter, angry Batman. This is like the dark. This is a Frank Miller-esque Batman turned down a couple of notches. Not like All-Star Batman, like that. This is the Dark Knight, Frank Miller style Batman. Even when he dons on the suit that he spent pretty much 2 years making. Your opening sequence is the end of Man of Steel, with Bruce Wayne trying to save people's lives and looking at him. And you can tell he's like, this guy, see what he did? He destroyed buildings like it was nothing. It's like, I have to do something to stop him, because if in any way, shape, or form he is a bad guy, I need a way to stop him. And he uses the Bruce Wayne persona to get things done. How was Jeremy Irons Alfred? He gets to be the tech guy. So Bruce Wayne, Batman, was the fighter, the detective, with the mechanical and the technology stuff kind of being headed up by Alfred. Which he provided the proper moments of, here's the rational moment of dialogue. Here's the rational moment of dialogue. Which, that's kind of Alfred. He's the guy who's like, my boss dresses up like a bat and beats people up to find other people that he's going to beat up to get information from. And he has gadgets. Henry Cavill's Superman. You can very much tell in the first film, he was trying to find his place in the world. And he's like, okay. And if you had him like, at the end of the film, he was like, I think I figured out what it is. In this film, he was like, dang it, I thought I figured out what it is. What I think it is, it's not. Ugh. So it really did feel like, what if Superman is in the real world? From Senate hearings talking about him to half people being like, yay, Underman, boo, illegal immigrant, alien. So I like that they dug into the, logically, a lot of people are not going to like Superman. And if you saw Man of Steel, you can tell there's more depth to the character because he's more troubled by his actions, because he's being made aware of the consequences of everything that he does. I know people made light of, oh, Man of Steel, all this destruction. This film, you can tell Superman, his hatred is based upon what he did, upon everything that he did. You know, if he saves one life, but 40 people are killed in the process, you know, that's what's wearing that's what's weighing on him. And they do a good job of really driving that point home. You know, he's not the cookie cutter everyone loves in Boy Scout. He's a 50-50 in the middle guy with lots of controversy because of what he does. Okay, that works. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. She's maybe in the film, maybe 10-15 minutes. Her first initial appearance as Wonder Woman got an applause. It's rare to see it have an applause in a theater during a film. Her battle sequence and the climax works well. The character is Diana Prince, kind of there. It's for the material she was given, she did well. And they introduced more of her backstory. It's done well. Seeing her fight was done well. I still think that maybe some with a little bit more physical presence, but she did well. She did much better than I thought she was going to be. This is what she was going to do. So, Batman, Ben Affleck, worked. When he felt out of his element, he had the look of like, I'm so out of my element. So out of my element. So out of my element. His battle with Superman, when he's got the advantage, he's like, ha, not so big and strong. Oh crap, he's big and strong now. See those moments of like, okay. I just had to do this to beat this guy. And their fight is surprisingly even. You can figure out why it's even. I'm not going to spoil that. They show you all the other characters they threw in there pretty much have very, very small, hey, it's me, sort of cameos, which work out okay. Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg, he has moments where he's really good, and other moments when he's Kevin Spacey in the character. I was rewatching Thanks to Cinema Sins, some of the Gene Hackman stuff, and Gene Hackman didn't come off like someone who felt threatening. Jesse Eisenberg goes from, he just playing himself? The weird, like, socially awkward smart guy? Okay. And then once you're like, oh, that's freaking brilliant. Then after, do you think he's playing the part of the Joker? Of course, at the end, he does have the iconic look towards the very end. So, although his job was good, it's hard to say because if you look like all the Lex Luthors, we really haven't had a truly one that you go, that's it, that's Lex Luthor. Michael Rosenbaum probably the closest one, but he had a lot of episodes to really gather the character to make it work. Lois Lane, Amy Adams, good job. You know, she's good. Her role in the film was good. It was Holly Hunter. Really, really strong performance. Man, her character should have been in this film a little bit more. Really, really strong. Diane Lane used just a little bit, but very impactful where they used her. It's like salt. The right amount of salt, dish feels fantastic. Too much salt, this is horrible. Kevin Costner, he's in there for a little bit. He's got like the moral support role, which was okay. So overall, this film actually, if you look at all of its parts, it's a very, very solid film. It takes its source material seriously. It's got some hiccups here and there. It's not a perfect film, but it's a undeniably solid superhero film. The moment of seeing the DC Trinity standing together, Wonder Woman front and center, I would say that moment felt bigger than when all the Avengers were together and they did like that pan around shot. Because the pan around shot was like, oh, look how bright and colorful they are. This shot was just a boom. Here they are. Here's what you wanted. So now I'm going to go into the spoiler portion. So, 3, 2, 1. So what is our basic plot? Lex Luthor has been trying to frame Superman. Trying to frame Superman so that way then he can convince the government to give him access to kryptonite, which he's going to use to make a weapon as a deterrent against Superman. But it's not just that. he takes the body of Zod, cuts off the fingertips to make little finger things, to break into a Kryptonian ship, to use that ship to learn all the knowledge you can about Krypton, and take the body of Zod, mix in his own DNA to make Doomsday, who initially looks like a giant Orokai. But then it's more of the current version of Doomsday, where it's more kind of Hunter Prey style. The more he fights, the bigger and stronger he gets. And after all, he tears off all of his outer layer of skin, and there's the big, bony version of Doomsday, which I clap for. I'm like, yes. Oh, not Orokai. Give me giant, bony, vicious-looking Doomsday who has heat vision. That's pretty much Lex Luthor's arc throughout the whole film. And then at the end, he gets captured, they shave his head bald. That's when he then reveals to Batman what's going on. Batman's character is a guy who's like, okay, I need to find a way to beat Superman. He has these really bizarre dreams that involve parademons and fiery pits of apocalypse and an evil Superman who's killing people with heat vision. This film very, very easily could have been an R rating. Very, very easily could have been an R rating. Superman. He goes from being the guy who's saving people's lives. Occasionally, other things are happening. He's being framed. He's like, but I'm not doing this stuff. I don't get what's going on around me. Wonder Woman is trying to get information that Lex Luthor has on her. She has a photo. He's a photo from 1918. As well as security footage of the other people. So it's Aquaman showing up, stabbing a camera. It is the birth of Cyborg. Looks like they're using it's a morphine cube. I think maybe it was a mother box to fully make him. Easily could have pushed the film to an R rating because it's like the birth of RoboCop in the background. A lightning bolt insignia, which didn't look like Flash. Could have been Flash. I think it might have been Flash, but the guy looks nothing like the guy like the picture of the guy who's supposed to play Flash. And I was like, okay. I was like, maybe, because it's just the lightning bolt in the circle. And I was like, but it doesn't look like Shazam's lightning bolt. So so many characters, they pretty much get like, Aquaman's one is, you see eyes underwater, see giant Samoa with a spear come out, kind of go back, pop the camera, and then speed away. So they get maybe 30 seconds of screen time apiece. In order to kind of push Batman being to the point to ready to kill Superman, the person who ambushes Lois Lane and all of them and kills everybody in the opening sequence is a Russian guy who's trying to work for a thing called the White Portuguese, which is something that Lex Luthor has, which is actually the ship carrying the kryptonite. So Lex Luthor's like, I have kryptonite. I need to get it to Metropolis. I know who Batman is. I need to take Batman, have him find a way to figure out that I've got this material, have him break into LexCorp, which they don't show. That's probably an R-rated section. Have him break into LexCorp, steal the kryptonite, to make a weapon to kill Superman. But I gotta get Superman to fight him. Well, if I kidnap Lois Lane to bring Superman out of hiding, and then I kidnap Superman's mother, because I know who he is, and then use that as bait and be like, well, if you want to save your mom, you gotta kill Superman. You gotta kill Batman. So Batman is fully fit, like, alright, I have to kill this guy. They go to a spot, Batman's got traps, he does sonics, doesn't do anything, does guns, doesn't do anything. And then he's like, okay. Fires a bullet. Superman catches it. Pff, kryptonite gas. Batman then whoops the daylights out of Superman, who then begins to recover. It begins to whoop the daylights out of Batman. So he fires another one. At which point, he then fully beats down Superman. And he's got a kryptonite spear. So Superman's like, Martha! What? Martha! Why are you doing that name? Because it didn't really dawn on me until that moment. Martha Thomas, Martha Kent. Their mothers had the exact same name. That pulls Batman off for a minute. Just long enough to be like, Martha's his mom's name. He's like, Lex Luthor's got my mom. They're going to kill her. I had to trade your life for hers. He's like, I'm gonna save your mom. So of course Superman goes to confront Lex, who then releases Doomsday. And as Superman's initially beating Doomsday pretty effectively, he's getting bigger and stronger. He flies him out into space. They launch a nuke at him. So you all you see Doomsday falls out of the ground, absorbs the damage from the nuclear blast, tears off his outer layer of flesh, and becomes the giant bony Doomsday. Superman is stuck in space. Hit with a nuke, he's all emaciated. Just like the Dark Knight. Okay, that works. Works really well. Absorbs enough solar energy to go back down to end up being a part of the final combat where Batman tries to fight Doomsday. Does not do well. Here comes the heat vision blast, and he's like, oh, I'm dead. That's when Wonder Woman shows up. Full gear, blocks it with the bracers, clangs the bracers for this massive shockwave, and now she is battling Doomsday while Superman is trying to make his return to come back. And then they're trying to find, essentially, the spear. The Kryptonite spear. They find it. Wonder Woman uses the golden lasso of truth to help hold Doomsday in place. Of course, previous to that, she cut off one of Doomsday's arms, and he grows a giant bone spike. Superman dives right into him, pierces the spear into him. Doomsday takes his giant bone protrusion, runs it right through Superman's chest. Doomsday's not dying. Superman's like, oh, this is not good. Superman pushes farther in with the spear, taking the bone farther into his body. He dies. Or does he? Yeah, that then brings to the double funeral procession of Clark Kent's funeral, where his mother was like, oh, Lois, this package came for you. It was from Clark, and it's a wedding ring. So it's like, and heavy. 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 Batman has all the information from LexCorp, and he's like, we've got to find these other guys. Because he had a dream of what's going to happen. Then he goes and he confronts Lex Luthor. New bald Lex Luthor who's like, oh, the bell's been rung. He is coming. He knows what's going on. And he knows God is dead. More or less saying that Darkseid is going to show up, and he knows there's no Superman. He's going to very easily control the Earth. As a standalone film, not super great. But if you watch Man of Steel and then this film right after it, they bridge almost flawlessly. I mean, I'm pretty sure somewhere they're going to release a version where it's the Man of Steel, and they'll intercut the opening sequence of Superman vs. Batman, and it'll overlap almost perfectly. And leading into the new characters, the new film, done very, very well. I didn't stick around for an end credit sequence. I know Nolan's not a fan of them, so we might not see them, but it's done very, very well. Tremendous amount of damage, and it felt like they took him to a spot where it was uninhabited. But the fact that they used all the destruction as the catalyst to make the fight between those two guys make sense was good. They used the human level of tragedy to make it more palpable. They took essentially two gods and a dude in a bat suit, and they made it make sense.